Hello, welcome to this live stream, 24-hour movie marathon Q&A, and I wanted to get a special guest for this. Unfortunately, all we have is CP from RazorwireReviews, so say hello, CP.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I thought it'd be cool to get CP on this and kind of have a bit more to bounce off someone, and also someone who's been involved in the marathon and doing his own and being in other people's marathons and things like that. So I asked for some questions, and you guys sent some questions in, and to the people watching.
Wait, wasn't I the only one that was doubly recorded on your current marathon?
Doubly, yeah, it's a double cameo. Yeah, no, okay. actually, no.
No.
Darren Isaac had.
Oh, that's right. All right, so never mind. I don't have the exclusive right to claim that I was doubly recorded.
Yeah, he doubly recorded as well, I think.
So. Okay, all right. So there's a double recording.
Yeah, basically. So. Anyway, so I had some questions from people in relation to the marathon, and that's kind of what we'll be talking, technically what we'll be talking about for the majority of this stream is the marathon. I'll get through some of the questions, and in between we'll talk about more marathon stuff. But I did do an interview, I guess, on your channel a while back, and we talked about the marathon, so a lot of ground was covered in that one. I'll add a link to that below after we finish this. And
cross promotion, sexy.
Yeah, so that was a good one, and don't want to get too, don't want to cover too much that's already been talked about. So I'll just get to the questions and see if he can jump in if he has anything to add on those questions. So this is probably a good one to start with. The man himself, good name, says, a message on Facebook, love your videos, thank you. How did you get Warwick Davis to make a cameo? Let's just get out of the way. That was so funny, it must have been hard. It really wasn't. It's kind of a long story, but a long story that doesn't really have much in it, really. It took a very long time to make happen. Basically, about a year ago, I just finished last year's marathon, and I thought, man, Mick Foley, that was pretty cool. And I thought, maybe I should try and top it. At least in like name value in some way, shape, or form. And the idea was always to do this. Oh, the 5th marathon's the last one, and then I can do Return of the Marathon. That was always the plan. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to get someone from Return of the Jedi, like an actual actor, to do an appearance? And I was thinking in my head, like, Gunner #3 or something, like, so that like he'd appear in the video, and it would be like, oh, why is Luke's granddad in this? And I'd be the only one who knew this extra. It was appeared in 2 frames of the film, So that was kind of my line of thinking. But then my head kept going to Warwick Davis. I just thought, he seems like a really cool guy. I've been a big fan of him on most of the things he does, from movies to TV shows. He seems very comfortable taking the piss out of himself, and just like a pretty cool guy. So I was looking online, and they have these services where you can buy video messages from celebrities. And I thought, well, I don't know if that would really work. And I saw that he was on there. And that he was, if you pay like $50 or something, and you get a celebrity to give you a video message for a birthday or whatever. And it said Warwick Davis will donate a portion of this to a charity. That's when I saw that he was involved in a charity. So I thought, why not cut out the middleman, try and get in touch with him somehow, see if by some way he would want to do a video thing for my marathon, and then we can kind of do some charity fundraising. So that's what I tried to do. I managed to get in touch with him, got his email address, sent him a message about it, explained the marathon, the whole idea. Thought I'd never hear from it, nothing would come from it. And then I got a reply the same day. And he was like, yep, sure.
That's wild.
And I was just like, holy shit. And he's just, let me know what you want me to do. Sounds good. So I sent him a little mini script, and I had kind of about 3 variations. I said, this is what I think would be kind of cool if you kind of sat down at your desk or something, and your phone, you're talking to someone, and it'd be like a one-way thing, not like a back and forth, but like, you just do the whole thing in one take. And I wrote a few different variations. Never heard from him again. I was like, oh, well. So about 2 months had passed. I messaged him a couple more times saying, hey, it's been about a month, if you don't do that kind of thing, that's cool. Because, I mean, I'm asking him to basically sound like a dick, And Connie was mortified when she heard what I'd sent. She was like, you can't get him to say that. It was like,
the Harrison Ford line is incredible.
Right, yeah. And so that was one of the variations. And about 2 months later, he messaged me back and said, "Yeah, no problem. I'm just busy." You know? I was like, fair enough. And I read that he was like doing the Han Solo movie, so I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have even bothered following up. You know, if he gets to it, he gets to it, and he got to it. So about 3-4 months, I think it took. Out of the blue, he sent me the clip, said he hopes it's okay, and that was it. And then obviously we did the fundraiser, raised over £100, which was awesome. So that's the Warwick Davis story. And it was very cool to have, you know, a legit actor kind of perform from something I'd written. I mean, I told him to improvise it to a way that sounds natural to him, but it's mostly what I wrote, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you wrote for Warwick Davis. That's pretty.
Yeah, in some small way, shape, or form. All right, we've got some people in the chat already with some. Well, there's one question. I'll get to that in just a second. What did you think of the Warwick Davis cameo? We'll kind of get you on this.
I thought the timing of all of it was a little rushed. You could have put it somewhere else. No, it was incredible. It was I opened for Warwick Davis, so that's fine. No, it was absolutely jaw dropping. Just 5 stars.
Yeah, it's gotten really normal for me now because I mean I got the footage about 3 months ago. So by the time I released the video, I'd seen it 50 times. It kind of worn off a little bit, you know, but still awesome. Great guy. Touch of Film says, hello. Is it harder to plan the skits or choose the movies? The skit was the hardest idea for my marathon. Plan the skits, I think. Choosing the movies is quite easy. Kind of get stumped sometimes, you know.
You kind of painted in a corner a little bit too, like yeah, you got to get a flop, or you got a letter of a name. Ryan with his infinite creativity, you got to kind of steer into what he's directing you. I mean, of course, that's not all the movies, but I would say the skits are a lot harder because you have to, especially if you're doing it with I don't know why I'm answering for you. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, that's why I wanted you on to kind of get, you know, different. I mean, you do similar stuff as in terms of the, you know, the little scenes and stuff, the homaging in your marathon. So I think it fits. But yeah, the skits are probably harder than choosing the movies, but you still get stumped sometimes. I think the 3-hour choice this year, we spent literally like over a day trying to figure out what to do. David says, right, man, when are you going to play Uncharted next? Hopefully tonight, but I don't know. We'll see. Dynamo says, hey, Luke, how are you, man? Doing pretty good. Thanks. Thanks for joining the stream. The next question is, we have a bunch from Vintomania, Chris Vint, who was the guy who was next to me at WrestleMania 30. What has been your most challenging movie marathon to do? The fourth one. The year 4, I don't know why I did this. I edited the whole video in one project file. And I don't know why. I mean, I've now realized that it's much easier to do it in smaller, you know, segment it up, if you know what I mean. So this year I had day 1 project file, day 2 project file. Year 4, including the skits, one continuous chronological thing. Hundreds of files. And I was recording on different SD cards and then like deleting footage once it was transferred and then filming new stuff. And I was about 80% done with the video. And I loaded it up again for the next session of editing, and everything was all jumbled because a lot of the files had the same file name. Like 00234, 00235. So it would be like the Eclipse from the beginning section and then like just spliced in, you know, almost like Fight Club style. It was like just us talking about Buster Keaton from 3 hours later on. I was like, oh my God. And there was just no way to fix it. I really fucked it up big time. I managed to jerry-rig a way to kind of rename everything and then manually re-add every single thing, which took a whole weekend. So at least like 12 hours. And that was just to get back to where I'd been before. So that was the hardest by far. Fingers crossed, nothing as bad has happened since. What about you, CB? What has been your most challenging out of the 2 that you've done so far?
Well, I see. My hard drive has bricked both summers, and
Right.
I think since last year I figured to, if I have something and it looks close to done, make a mini version. Make, you know, if I have a 2-minute stretch, make, you know, a completed 2 minutes. This way, if something happens, I could just, you know, put that 2-minute chunk and then the other 2-minute chunk, and instead of, you know, having to like you said, just have a giant pile of mess. So I sort of this year, last year's was messy, but that was for my mental state and just disheveled. But this year I had a lot more stuff that I wanted to do and couldn't for reasons that were out of my hands, and that was a little frustrating. So this year, it's only my second year.
Yeah. Okay. This year I did basically like I said, 3 project files: day 1, day 2, day 3, and then I also had like day 1 part 1, day 1 part 2. So I kind of rendered, sections just so that I've done that 20-minute stretch. Just keep that safe just in case anything else happens. So, and Vintomania is in the chat and says hello, man. Welcome to the stream. His second question is, for you, what would be the marathon you're most proud of? This year's, I guess. I shared the video of the scene with me and my brother on Facebook, and a lot of family and friends really liked that, and I got some nice messages from it. And then the Warwick Davis thing was really cool, but also raising money for charity, that's pretty important to me. I think it's a cool thing to take something that I love doing and to get a little bit of good out of it as well. So I'd say this year is probably the one I'm the most proud of, and I'm quite happy with the video as well. Lastly, do you have a plan on doing other marathons like gaming marathons or TV box set marathons? Gaming marathon, I think you'd probably have to like live stream that, wouldn't you? And for me, as much as I love gaming, 2 hours, 3 tops, I'm kind of tapped out. I'm not good at doing that for long stretches, so probably not. And I think that overall I love movies a lot more, so I'd be a lot more into doing that kind of thing. TV box set, I actually have kind of done this. I watched the Twin Peaks box set back in June, and I basically recorded a video every few episodes. So that's a series though, not one big video, but that's kind of one that I've done but have yet to fully release. But yeah. We have one from, and this is an interesting one, from Stiff Kittens. Do you think you'll ever be able to do a 24-hour movie marathon again where you just talk about the films and have no skits, no cameos, no cooking meals, just talking about the films? No. Next question.
Doesn't sound that great to me.
It's a good question though, because it's become this, it's ballooned into this thing, right? Like you look at my first marathon, 20 minutes. It literally is just pretty much just talking about films.
Now
it's this huge thing, this huge production stuff. I like marathons that are just people talking about movies. I like all kinds of, the videos that people make for the 24-hour movie marathon. But for me, it's kind of like gone past the point of no return. I feel like if I was to do one that was just a basic video, it could still be enjoyable as a talking about movies kind of thing. But I think people would be disappointed, and I think I'd be disappointed too, because I kind of like the pomp and circumstance of it. It's kind of fun. So, but I think it is a good question, because there's a debate for both. I still enjoy people who just do a straight up marathon just talking about the films. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. The whole theme of the marathon is quite the antithesis of the YouTube platform. I mean, these are supposed to be quick videos, and people are supposed to be in and out with YouTube, and here we are. Right. Regardless, I mean, even if it is just talking, it's gonna be a long video regardless. So, it's hard to say what's the perfect marathon video. There isn't. I mean, it's such a healthy blend. I don't know. I can't see me. I can't imagine me going longer than an hour, just because I couldn't imagine somebody wanting to watch me for an hour.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's got to be flattering at least to know that somebody wants to watch you just talk about movies. So
yeah, again, like I see that question, I'm just like, oh, so you don't like the way I do
the effort I put in.
But I still think it's quite a valid question. But and to your point, it isn't really normal to me still that people do enjoy that aspect of my marathons, where this year was 4 hours 5 minutes. And the skits are about 55. So it's still like a good 3 hours of just me and Connie talking about film. So it is quite weird, but it is what it is, and it's become its own thing, I guess. Bezius sent in a few questions. Is there going to be making a marathon video? I quite enjoyed the one you did last year. No, that was like an experiment, let's try and chart this from the very beginning, pre-production, so to speak. all the way to the end, and I was really happy with it actually.
You just wanted to make that thumbnail because your hair was shorter.
Yep, that's it. That's where it started. That's where it started. But no, I did want to kind of chart the thing and see if it'd be interesting, and I think it's moderately interesting. You know, I'll probably do a making of, you know, this year, just a brief thing, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but not a feature length kind of comprehensive every step of the way thing. I like doing that, but especially now, like last year, I didn't have as much work as I do now as a freelancer, so it's, you know, doing that kind of thing just takes a lot of time. I thought your brother did a good job on the marathon. How was it working with him? Really good, actually. I was not sure how it would pan out, whether he'd be into it enough, whether he'd be able to deliver good lines, and he did really well. It took a lot of direction, and I kind of felt a little bit proud of my skills to direct him, because I had to be very patient with, I mean, for every line he had in that skit, there was 20 terrible deliveries, you know, which is right. I mean, he's just a kid, you know, but there's a lot of just, you know, no, do it more like this, no, more like this, more like you're feeling like this about a video game, you know. I try and get into his kind of frame of mind. Yeah, that was great, but don't look into the camera. Yeah, that was great, but you were smiling, you know. It turned out really well. And I'm really
Kubrick over here.
Huh?
Kubrick over here.
I mean, really, it was relatively simple, but it was like over 100 lines in the script for that scene. So like around 50 each for both of us. So I mean, it took a long time. All told, it's at least over an hour's footage for that 7-minute little scene. But yeah, and I thought he'd probably get very tired of doing all that stuff, but he was game, and yeah, it was great. And how did it feel trolling Zara Nizarek? He's great. He really is. Like the first year, I kind of wrote him as a bit of an abrasive kind of asshole, and he kind of took that a bit further when he sent me the stuff, and so it's kind of built up. And I like how this year we kind of flipped the switch with him trying to troll me a little bit, and then I kind of triggered him into, you know. So that was fun, and he's always great with the stuff that he delivers, and is always game for putting a lot of effort into giving me like lots of different versions of every line. So you know, again, that was probably like a 5-minute skit that had around 50 minutes of footage from both of us for that thing, you know. So lots of alternate takes.
Sean putting you over.
Oh, we got some more comments. A touch of film, nice painting of Obi-Wan smoking a pipe, CP. Indie Phantom. I struggle doing marathons. I love the idea and picking out the movies, but I struggle to watch more than a couple of films a day. Yeah, that can be the case for some people, I guess. And if you're going to struggle to, then you're not going to enjoy it anyway. So it's just one of those things. Dynamo says, I always enjoy marathoning the Dark Knight trilogy. I usually do that every few months. Wow. I mean, for me, I don't like revisiting films that often. I like to kind of, even my favorite films, I like to have about a year usually. But you must really love the Dark Knight trilogy, but they are great films. So for me, I kind of need to stay within a genre to do a marathon. I really enjoyed doing a Friday the 13th one in my early college years. Yeah, I like the idea of that, doing the genre one, or kind of a series or a theme, you know. Friday the 13th marathon is great fun, especially with a group of friends and beers on the go. Yeah,
no, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Yeah, I've only seen the first film in that series, so
that's coming from a fan. No. No.
Really?
It'll get really tiresome towards the end.
So how does it go from like the first film as far as like enjoyment? Does it go up and down, or is it kind of like
it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just bye.
Well, I won't be doing that anytime soon.
Not in a marathon setting. Ugh, no.
All right, we have a question from the Movie Geek. Which marathon video was the hardest to shoot? The one this year with the when I was looking at myself from the past marathon, that was a real ball ache because I had to change my entire clothes on the side of a public walkway and quickly. So that was really stressful and just, yeah, convoluted. But probably the hardest one was the the Force Awakens homage we did last year up on the hill. We tried to film that one day, and it was snowing so badly, and the snow up on that hill was like 3 foot deep, and it was just impossible and really frustrating. Went back again. We got it, but it was like constantly kind of raining and then not raining and then snowing, and so that was probably the hardest. What was your favorite segment of your marathon? Is it cameos, reviews, or editing, perhaps? Anyway, big fan, and keep up the amazing videos, Bernardo Cisneros. Thank you very much. Cameos, reviews, or editing? Well, that could mean different things. It could mean, do I like orchestrating the cameos or editing the cameos, doing the reviews, editing the reviews? Let me think. CP, why don't you answer that question while I think about this? Cameos, reviews, or editing? Try and go somewhere with it.
It's got to be cameos. I mean, because that's what, like, you can get creative with cameos, and you're not doing any of the work. You're just all right, this is what I want you to do. Can you do it? And if you can, all right, good, get it to me. So, I mean, but it's I mean, I kind of went a little crazy with mine this year. So I tried to do that copying, that whole theme of mimicking sequels. So, you know, knowing that somebody, I mean, Emily's shot for shot copy of Friday the 13th too was flawless. So like when you know that you have somebody that's creative, like Cody, you enjoyed his dialogue, and his son, like there's just Brian, his Dark Knight thing was really awesome on mine. So like when you get other people that kind of understand and they're just as creative as you are, it's exciting, because you don't it's like a Christmas present. You don't know until you get it, and it's just like, oh wow, this is, now I really have to bring my A game. Because editing, you know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I'm with you on the cameos. There is that kind of excitement when you get sent one, and it's like, ooh, I've never seen this, and this is gonna be cool. And especially when someone over delivers or they give you something else. In this year's marathon, Zaran Isaac had a second cameo where he phones me again and does the whole thing with, oh, so not many people did your marathon this year. That was all him. Like, he just sent that to me. That wasn't part of my plans or anything. He'd mentioned doing something like that, but you know, that was cool. And I think with you, actually, well, apart from the little Rocky phone call we did this year, putting that aside, I think the 2 cameos you've done, I've just said, just do something like this. So I think you're really the only person I don't write for. So that's always cool. When I don't really know what you're going to say, I know what the gist is going to be, but it's fun to see where you take it. But I do enjoy the editing too. The editing is really fun, because that's when it starts to become something more than just a clip of me and Connie talking about films, you know.
Sure.
And it's just like, this is becoming something. I mean, I guess that's the same with any video, really. But when it's the marathon, it feels a bit more special to me. So I do love the editing. It's fun, long but fun. But yeah, I think cameos is probably the favorite part, because that's what makes it kind of extra special and fun. Anything else in the chat? What are your opinions on animal crackers? Would you like to join our fan club?
What?
I don't know. I don't have an opinion, so I probably wouldn't like to join the fan club. But thank you for the comment. CP's got the ratings of the Friday the 13th films just perfect.
That's coming from a fan. I mean, they're shit, but they're my shit.
Right, back to the questions. Oh, we're almost done. Will Lease says, will there be another silent movie marathon? Yes. They're a lot more niche than the 24-hour movie marathon. And that's a case where it is pretty much just me sitting down talking about films. So, yeah. I guess if you don't like silent films, that's a problem. But I've done one every year, and I was going to do the 4th one back-to-back with the 3rd one last year, and it was just too much. But I didn't think I'd still be living here by this month. In 2017. So I've done half of the 4th silent movie marathon, so I have like hours of footage packed away somewhere. I just need to do the second half. So yeah, I'll be doing another one, and it'll come by the end of the year, I would say. Wolf Gratz asks, one of the few things you don't tend to discuss surrounding the marathon is how you choose the movies. Is it mainly by thinking about how they will fit into your schedule and keep you interested, or do you try and have some sort of connecting theme? Very good question. Uh, it's a bit of everything, really. I mean, obviously, I go by the guidelines that Ryan sets down, and sometimes the guidelines, this year, I'll be honest, was it the first letter of your first name guidelines were a little to me. I feel like it could have been a bit more interesting. So I mean that was sorry Ryan, I love you, but like when we watched Luxo Jr., which is like a 2-minute film, that was kind of my kind of silent yet public protest towards. But yeah, so I go by the guidelines, and there isn't really a connecting theme with the films, but I do like to pick films that I think are going to make good discussion points and good viewing experiences, because I watch all the films with my fiance, and so I always have that in mind. So I'll think like, okay, this is a really great film I'd like to show Connie, but if I wait a few months until the marathon, then we can talk about it, and that's kind of that moment gets captured. A good example of that would be last year we watched Limelight, which is one of my favorite films. I was excited to show it to her, and then she loved it, but she also loved it for all the reasons I loved it, and so that was such an awesome moment for me, and to have it on video was really cool. So I like to think about that, but I also like being spontaneous, hyperbole. I like being spontaneous too, and having the freedom to be like, okay, let's just go to Netflix and see what's on there, pick something, So there's no real connecting thing, but it's a little bit of everything. It's planning, it's going with the flow, and you do try and think of. I think at one point we were going to watch The Deer Hunter this year, but Connie was like, "Oh, we can't watch it now because it's too early in the day, and I'm going to be uninterested, and then I'll be in a bad mood if I don't like it for the rest of the, you know what I mean?" So that does play into it as well.
Wow.
And okay, we got a couple more questions in the chat. Touch of Film says, any chance of an Asian movie marathon? Well, I did the Japanathon a couple of years ago, which was a lot of fun. But no, but I am doing my Asian cinema season coming up soon, so that's that's gonna be pretty cool.
What about Korean cinema?
Oh, Asian, there'll be Korean films.
Sorry, that was a reference to your marathon. Sorry.
Oh right, yeah, of course, yeah. I don't know if you've answered this before, but which is your favorite guideline to do if you have one? Do you have one?
Flop. No.
Flop.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
You say that, but what was it? Waterworld this year. That was quite cool.
Really?
I enjoyed it. I was like, yeah, that's that's not as bad as people were saying. It's interesting with films that bomb, like a John Carter or something like that. And
that's what I watched last year.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad film.
I had no problem watching it too.
Yeah, exactly. I like the classic you've never seen before guideline, even though I don't think I did it this year. We chose The Wizard of Oz, which I'd already seen, but Connie'd never seen it, and that was fun for her to see this proper classic. That's probably that.
Has Ryan ever done like a film that was nominated for an Oscar but didn't win?
That's a good one. See, that's where it gets a bit more interesting,
So no,
yeah.
Ryan, next year.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Justin says, "Why does Connie not want to watch The Godfather?"
Oh yeah, good question.
Have you seen that? You haven't watched the marathon yet, have you?
Not all of it, but
no. Okay, that's probably one of my favorite moments where this year we introduced the thing where we both get a pick where the other person can't refuse it, which was a lot of fun. And so I kind of tricked her into thinking we were going to watch The Godfather, and she almost cried. She was that kind of frustrated. It was amazing. I don't know. She doesn't like mafia movies, as she calls them. She doesn't like gangster movies that much.
Yeah, but that's like prehistoric. That's not Goodfellas. That's if you were able to get through Deer Hunter, Godfather should really be
right.
I don't know.
It's the fact that it's a 3-hour movie as well, and I just she's never been interested in it. She's always had this kind of aversion to it. So I'll get to watch it one day. Hopefully during a marathon. That'd be quite a fun experiment. But it's just kind of the way it's been. And the final question that was sent in beforehand, also from Wolf Gretz. Although I personally agree that Ryan's rules are best approached as being by way of guidelines, does there come a point at which the concept of a marathon is lost and it's more a matter of loads of people watching quite a few movies over a few days?
Ooh.
And do you think that would matter so long as people have a good time and are encouraged to talk about movies? Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, and my videos go, I do think the concept of the 24-hour movie marathon has been quite considerably skewed. You know, I feel like you should just be able to do it the way you want to do it, and if you enjoy it, that's cool.
Yeah, the guidelines, not rules.
Yeah, but also I think he probably more means the doing it over a 24-hour period, and how I haven't done that ever, really. I mean, the first marathon, I almost did it. I slept for 6 hours. But I realized that, well, I slept for 6 hours and I still really enjoyed it, and no one seemed to complain about it. And then the second year, it took us 4 fucking days to finish it. And that's how the whole thing started, really, was that I was going to do the second movie marathon. I was about to sit down and go, okay, I'm starting this year's marathon. I was just procrastinating. And I thought, what if I did like a little scene where I'm getting ready, you know? And then I spent a couple of hours just filming stuff. And that's how the skits came more into it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I think it doesn't really matter as long as you enjoy it. And if people enjoy the video as well, that's a bonus. But yeah, I think the original idea was to do it in the 24-hour period and the endurance of that. But still, doing it over a few days and dedicating every waking moment to it is still pretty tiring. You know, this year, by the second day, we were exhausted because, like, you wake up, you start watching movies. You finish watching movies, you go to sleep, you wake up, and when all of the time is dedicated to it, it is quite tiring. So,
yeah, even on 3 days, it's 3 work shifts. It's 3 sessions of 8 hours. So it's
yeah. So yeah, no, I don't mind the way that it's turned out. People don't seem to mind too much. A few people commented on it. You know, well, it's not really a true marathon. It is what it is. Oh, Ryan's here. The guidelines are rules, damn it. Rules. Oh, Ryan, if only you joined 20 minutes earlier, we were kind of jabbing at your guidelines this year, I guess.
Oscar film that did not win an Oscar next year, Ryan.
Yes, that's a good one. I missed this. Ryan says this live stream would not exist if I wasn't born.
Wait, this is Luke's thing. I don't even know what you're talking about, Ryan.
Yeah. This is my marathon. Ryan, the creator of all this, you know, awesome as always that you created this whole thing. It's
Indeed.
Cool. I think I missed one. Yeah, Justin said, what inspired you to watch Twin Peaks this year? Any new thoughts on the season 3 finale? And what is the next Lynch film you will watch? I want to watch Mulholland Drive. I'm intrigued by that one. What inspired me to watch Twin Peaks this year? Everyone was talking about the new one, and I want to catch up, so I did. And any new thoughts on the season 3 finale? Yeah, I can't believe everyone died at the end. It just, oh wait, you haven't seen it. No, I have a lot of new thoughts on the season 3 finale. My reaction video, I mean, that's just so far removed from what I think of it now. It was one of those endings that just, the more you think about it, the more it changes, and there's just so many possibilities. And I'll make another video about that at a later date once I've processed everything, because a lot to think about. Zafter says, still like the old format. Would never do it myself, of course. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you prefer that kind of thing, that's cool. I love just making like a long weekend out of it. You know, it's more fun. I think if I did the full stretch, Connie would get so fatigued that she wouldn't enjoy it, and then she'd just go to bed. And you know, I mean, that's kind of the spirit of it, I guess, is to push through and stuff. But like Wolfgrat said in his comment, you know, people just enjoying films, talking about films, then it's cool. Guideline for next year: watch a movie that CP might say it was all right.
That's 99% of film. All right or quite all right? Because quite all right is quite high praise from me.
Yeah, that's right. So anyone watching, if you want to keep throwing in your marathon related questions, go ahead. So CP, I want to talk to you about your marathons a little bit, even though you've kind of touched on them before. I mean, you've probably been sat here for this whole thing thinking, what does this do for my marathon?
No, I actually wasn't. I was quite flattered that I was here at all.
Yeah. So do you remember how you first heard about it? Just the marathon in general?
it had to be either you or Ryan. And I mean, it's just dumb luck that you guys stumbled across my channel, and then you know, the controversy that was my channel back in February of 16. And
Sure.
and then I think I don't remember which one of you, it was one of you had your marathon up sometime after we started talking. I was like, wow, that's really neat. And then I was like, well, I'm going to take part in this because that's an awesome idea.
Mm.
And it was just absolute inspiration from either you, Ryan, both. But yeah, it's one of you two, if not both.
Sure. And so how did you think about tackling it yourself when you did your first one?
Well, I had a lot of time on my hands, so you know, doing it in one day wasn't a problem. It was the fact that I fell asleep somewhere in the middle, so I decided to add. I think I did a total of 25 and a half hours, but that was because I took a little snooze in the middle somewhere, and so I didn't have the foresight that I do now. Like, I'm already planning stuff for next year's, but at that point I was like, I want to do skits like Luke does, but I want to have it be tied into the stuff that I'm watching. Like, I watched Clerks, so I did the opening from Clerks was the opening to my marathon. I watched Shutter Island, so the ending was me talking to myself, doing the Shutter Island dialogue. So, you know, it was all inspiration from you guys.
Yeah, I like that idea very much, where the skits are very much tied into everything that you're watching. You know, look at last year, Force Awakens homage was the big centerpiece of the intro, and we didn't watch that in the marathon. And this year is a lot of Twin Peaks stuff, which you know I hadn't even seen before we did the marathon. For me, it's very random in that sense, but yeah, that was a cool thing, and I love your first marathon. It was a really cool, because it was just a fresh take on it. You know, I mean, it was similar to what other people do, but just had your own spin on it. I really liked it. Even if, did you lose footage on that one? Yeah, because most of the stuff where you're doing the marathon was kind of filmed after the fact.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was
which I think you joked about at the end as well.
Simulated reality, I think.
Simulated reality. So, yeah, but I even with that, I quite liked it. It was just a different feel to it. It was cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Back to the chat. Ryan says, every year that goes on, I'm more ill by the end of the 24 hours. Especially since I start after a long work day sometimes.
Yeah.
Dynamo says, what's CP's favorite movie? And Ryan chimes in with Boyhood.
It is not Boyhood. Which, if you check my marathon, there's a little nugget. I have the Boyhood criterion when I'm talking to Luke. That's strictly on purpose. If it's not Dog Day Afternoon, it might be Inception.
Yeah, I would have said Inception, just based on what I think. Zafter says, more of an event to do it over several days, but I must say the thought of Connie doing it in 24 hours solid kind of appeals. Yeah, never happening. It's just not going to happen. And especially as the years go on and we have kids, like, holy shit. That's when the marathon will probably take 2 weeks to do. Oh,
and then you have new generations of marathonees.
Yes, and I'll pass the torch on.
Return of the Marathon 22.
Yeah, if I follow the Star Wars subtitles, Marathon 8 will be the last marathon. Marathon Insurrection. Right. Ryan said you had more than time in your hands. He also follows it up with, I'm an ass. Okay.
Dude, no. It more than suits me, Ryan. Thank you. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Dynamo says, never seen Boyhood. The length kind of puts me off. Yeah, it's a long one. That's kind of part and parcel.
It's not a Linklater film. It goes against everything that Linklater, Linklater movies are really good when they're a day in the life of. Slacker's a really good movie. The Before trilogy, they're all really good, and they follow that Dazed and Confused. They follow the similar day in the life of thing. And Boyhood is this stretched out thing where, you know, there's no arc. I mean, that's what's great about something like Slacker, Dazed and Confused. You don't really need an arc. It's the morning and then it's the night and then the movie's over. Boyhood, like, you want to see like what happens, you know, in the beginning, what effect it has on the person. But sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
That's right. Everything you mentioned about those other films, I think, still applies to Boyhood.
Nope.
And you're so hung up on this arc thing. Life doesn't have an arc. Okay. Anyway, Boyhood's a masterpiece. Ryan says my marathons jumped the shark.
Jumped the shark? Is that what he said?
Ryan says my marathons jumped the shark when I was abducted by a Blu-ray.
Oh, the disc in the parking lot, Ryan. Just.
And the next year, having a relationship with a Blu-ray.
The smile you give that Blu-ray in the grass is just priceless.
Yeah. Ryan, I know you got a hurricane in your path, but get that marathon done. Come on. We're waiting. You're the last one, pretty much. We've all done it now. And it took me fucking forever to get mine finished, but yeah. I still need to watch Only Yesterday, and I like to review what are your top 3 Studio Ghibli films. Princess Mononoke, Porco Rosso, Nausicaa, probably. No, that's not a Studio Ghibli film. Kiki's Delivery Service. There you go. So your second marathon, CP, how did that compare to your first one? I mean, what was it called? Rehabilitation, right?
A bit more ambitious.
Right.
Like there was a more narrow theme. It was like, okay, this is a sequel. Instead of doing stuff that relates to what I'm going to watch, I didn't know what I was going to watch, and I was like, I just want to have it be sequels. I want to do sequel things, shot for shot copies. And I knew I wouldn't be able to get anybody to understand what I was doing. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do Godfather 2, my favorite scene from Godfather 2. And they could see that this is what I'm trying to go for. I want to, you know, emulate what the scenes are in the movies, and I think it turned out quite well with the help from Dennis, of course.
The Godfather scene was incredible.
Yeah, it's like you said, it was a little top loaded. Everything after that was a little. I guess it goes back to that question from before. I was more focused on the skits than the marathon. So, like the skits and the cameos, I was just. How can I really make this snappy? And so, yeah, the common thread was part 2s. And I think next year I'm probably going to do part 3s because it was just too much fun. It was, I don't know, maybe that's my new thing. I'm just going to copy stuff from whatever version of the year it is.
Yeah, I probably missed out on doing some of that myself, where, again, most of my movie references, homaging are very scattered and random. But you know, now I'm at like 6. There's not really many like, you know, well-known 6th movies.
Police Academy.
Right, exactly. Oh man, I can't believe you did that scene from Police Academy 7, Mission to Miami, or whatever it is. But when you're at like 2 and 3, there's a lot of stuff you can Terminator 2, a lot of stuff. Godfather 2. And 3, there's still quite a lot there, so yeah, that should be interesting to see where you take that. Luke, Brian says, Luke, you did the trilogy. Yeah, the Chill Pilgrim trilogy. Yeah, that was interesting. That was kind of cool because the Marathon 3, the Chill Pilgrim cameo is from a video he did like a couple of years beforehand that I got him to send me. So it was just completely. I knew he made a video in the woods, so I thought, let's just film myself in the woods and just see if I can make it.
That's so awesome.
And then the next year he did a cameo where all it was I just wanted to do a phone call. And he said, and again, to your point, like when people just surprise you, he sent me a clip and he's out in the middle of the woods and he's like, I can't believe I'm here in Norway. And then he's basically this storyline where he's like stalked me, but he's like, man, the direction just lead into the middle of these woods. And then the next year he continued it and he's still stuck in the woods after a year. He wore the same clothes. And again, in that kind of fight, the end of the Chill Pilgrim trilogy, he sent me another clip that was completely of his own thing where he ends up coming out of the woods and his dog's barking in the car park and he's like, wait, I've been home the whole time. Perfect.
Mhm.
But
But it's like what Brian. Well, Brian did the same thing with what I asked him to just. I gave him a script to copy, you know, to shoehorn into The Dark Knight, and then he front loaded it with him watching our stream, and then hit like it was a pseudo jab of sorts. Like it was really neat to see what like it, you know, it's just really cool when other YouTubers help and they really
they get creative with it as well.
Yeah.
Dynamo says Chill Pilgrim's cameos always make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chill Pilgrim, if you're watching, I hope you're doing well, man. He's been through a lot of personal stuff the past year or so, so he couldn't do a cameo this year. So I kind of homaged him very briefly at the end with the little ghost. So yeah, he always delivers great cameos. Justin says, I'm cool to see Cineram's cameo in the video. I discovered your channel since he plugs your channel in his videos. Cool. Nice connection there. So I think that's really, I think we should leave it there. I think there's not much more to talk about. Well, I'm sure there is, but, you know, don't want to run it into the ground. But yeah, what CP, what do you, how long do you plan to keep doing these marathon things, do you reckon?
I mean, I don't see any end in sight. I mean, it's, I'd hate to put gas into your tank there, but, you know, I feel like you're certainly somebody that I'm trying to one up or keep up with. So I mean that absolutely. So yeah, as long as you're doing them, I'm like, wait, hold on, let me try this.
It was really cool this year to see more people doing it as well. I think I've seen more this year than any other year. People like Karate Popcorn doing it, Touch of Film doing it in their own way. It was just really cool. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be many more marathons to come.
I think it's funky seeing people that like don't even realize it's from Ryan, and you could see that the guidelines. It's like, wait a minute, that's Ryan's thing. What's happening here? Yeah,
there's people. It spreads. You know, I'll search it every now and again, and there's this random marathon from 2014 or something. It's like, who's this guy? He doesn't make videos at all, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the Ryan Chataway. You know, or sometimes they don't even know that, they just have the guidelines, and I'm like, yep, that's Ryan's guidelines.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So overall, it's a cool thing, and thank you for all the questions and for joining in, and thank you CP for joining me as well.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.